Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape,
vinyl tape, carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Do it.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host, Kevin Wortham. Today, man, we are going to rock and just flow with my man, Big Dawg. What's going on, man? How are you?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored, brother. How are you, brother?
Good. Now, so should I say Leonard Wright or should I say Sam Big Dawg Wright? How do you want to be addressed this evening, brother?
Listen, you know how we gonna do. We gonna keep it raw. Leonard Big Dawg Wright.
All right.
Just as it was when we were in college, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Just like it was at Pitt.
So
old school.
So how did it all begin? How did I meet you? Because I'm coming from Jersey. You're coming from Tennessee, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Now, so how did you pick Pittsburgh to go to school?
And that's the irony of it. I didn't.
Oh.
My uncle.
Yes.
This is so interesting.
Yes.
My mother's brother.
Yes.
Ben Battle. God rest his soul. He
Yes.
passed earlier this year actually.
Okay.
He was a semi-pro football coach in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And while I was milling around, after a decent high school football career and where I wanted to go, I was thinking Ohio State, believe it or not, Cincinnati, a couple of schools, University of Tennessee. He had took it on his own to reach one of his contacts that happened to know Coach Fazio, our coach at the time.
Yeah. And
so I ended up getting a letter, Kev, in the mailbox. I knew nothing about nothing, bro. I just got a letter from Coach Fazio.
Yes.
That said, hey, August, this is when it starts. This is where it begins. We want you to come, to the University of Pittsburgh. And that's how it started, bro. A letter from Coach Fazio. That's actually how my pitch journey starts.
Wow.
I had no knowledge that my uncle even set it up.
Wow. That's crazy, man. So it's always good to have people in high places looking down on our behalf, right, brother?
That's right. That's exactly correct, my man. Yes, sir.
And it's so funny, man. It's like here we are some 35, 38 years removed from Pitt.
Woo, look at that.
And
yeah, man.
Man, thank God to technology and thank God to Facebook. Well, that's technology. Okay, here we go. So
seriously, man.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So you're at Pitt, you're playing football. When did the entrepreneurial spirit just like kick in and just become so overwhelming? Because I've seen your Facebook over the years. I'm like, man, I never knew Big Dawg could sing or dance like that. What's going on? So when did your entrepreneurial spirit kick in, man?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
Yes, sir.
It really, for me, do you remember Donovan? the Q-Dawg when we were freshmen and he was a senior.
Yes, I remember him vaguely.
He was dating. Oh gosh, you just interviewed her recently.
Oh, you're talking about
from St. Croix.
Yeah, LaShawn Soto.
LaShawn Soto.
Yes,
he dated LaShawn.
Okay.
I remember our sophomore year, man.
Yes.
He was an information science graduate.
Yes.
That's what he got his degree in. He came back, and he had something at the student union where he was basically speaking to all the undergrads about experience after Pitt, right?
Yes.
He made a statement that triggered something to me, man. To this day, I give it to him unknowingly how I even got into entrepreneurship.
Wow.
What he said was a statement that triggered. He said, man, listen, university life teaches you how to think.
Yes.
You get your degree, it shows the employer that you know how to think and how to follow instruction.
Yes.
But when you get out into the work world, it all starts over at zero, right?
Okay.
So a lot of the stuff that you guys are learning here, not unless you're a specialist like a doctor or something like that, or a lawyer, you're not going to really use much of that once you get into the workforce, right?
Got you.
Now, I don't know what and why that triggered me, but that was like one of two things that did it for me. When I was at Pitt, I don't know if you knew this or not, but there was a company called Federated Investors downtown Pittsburgh that I actually worked for during the summer.
I did not know that.
And I was a bank service rep, man. I used to put on a suit and tie, Kev.
Yeah.
5 days a week, man.
Get out.
9 to 5.
During the summer.
During the summer.
Wow.
Yeah. While still staying at Tower B.
Wow.
Right? Or Tower C. I forgot which one we were in. Tower B, C, which one. So long. But I got fired, Kev.
From your summer job?
I got fired for my summer job.
Yes.
I became a trainer. I was training people.
Wait, stop.
They couldn't believe it.
Wait, stop. So, how did you get fired from the summer job?
This is what's so crazy.
Yes.
They tried to tell me that I stumbled across their operations system intentionally, like I was some spy. I am not exaggerating, man.
Okay.
It was called the Angel Network.
Okay.
And while I was working one time, I don't even know how I got into it. I think it was a setup. I just saw the Angel Network pop up, and a red light went off, bro, in the corner of the computer, right?
Yeah.
And I had people pull me into the office. How did I get in? This and that, blah, 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 blah. And I had people to tell me, like, the different marks that they gave you after your 90-day grace period.
Yes.
The areas that I was excellent in,
yes,
they said that I was worse. And the areas that I was not that good in, they said, oh, I was excellent. So they reversed my 90-day grace period report.
Wow.
And so I ended up getting fired, man, and that put a bad taste in my mouth. And I said to myself, that moment, bro, this is 1986.
Yes.
That I would never work for anybody again. I actually said that. So the combination of Donovan's message and that is what kind of propelled me into the entrepreneurship mindset. Not knowing anything about being an entrepreneur, but that's what said I just want to be in business for myself. 1986.
Wow.
That's where it started.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Yes,
That's
sir.
crazy. So, but where did the entrepreneurial spirit go to the next level, and how did you combine the finance with the party life? Because again, on Facebook, I saw you all over the place. So at what point did that kick in, though?
And I'll tell you where that happened. That happened back in New York City. So once I left Pitt,
yes,
first job I got was with a Wall Street firm.
Okay.
Called Alliance Capital Management.
Okay.
On Wall Street. And I was a portfolio manager.
Yes.
At the time, I was making 21 years old, making $110,000 a year, which at that, was amazing. Coming straight out with just a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, yeah.
And getting limo rides home in Jersey, where I was living from, Wall Street to George Washington Bridge. Get home probably like maybe sometimes 10 or 11 o'clock at night because of the commute.
Yes.
And I did that, was basically representing a lot of high net worth individuals, personal and estates,
okay.
And so had a great learning experience there on Wall Street. Couldn't believe I even got that job, and similar situation, Kev. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I tell you, you can't write this script, right?
Yeah.
I saw this older white couple come in, and they were like staring at me, and I just waved at them and just said, hello, from my desk. And maybe about 45 minutes go by, and my supervisor called me in the office and said, "Do you see that couple, the older couple who just walked by?" I said, "You're actually managing one of their accounts." And I said, "Yeah, okay. What's the deal? Everything okay?" He said, "Yeah, your work is good, but they didn't know you were African American." I said, "Wow,
Whoa.
you gotta be kidding me!" My mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. It happened in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
It happened there. They let me go as well on some discriminatory. Right.
Wow, wow. But you were making money and controlling their money and doing well by them until they met you face to face.
Until they met me face to face.
Wow.
And what happened was they took that account because it was such a high account.
Yes.
And instead of my brain was thinking, well, just transfer the account to someone and let me keep my job.
Yes.
They didn't want me there.
At all. Wow.
And didn't even know me, right? And so that was like 2 strikes. I wasn't going for 3. And so how I ended up getting into, I didn't allow me to get to 3, bro.
Yeah.
I went to immediately, I'm talking about the same day, man, I got fired. I just happened to see a New York Times right out the front door at a newsstand, picked it up. I think I went to, I don't know, man, I went somewhere in the village to a restaurant. Just sat down, man, got a bite to eat, and just opened up the classified, man. I just, I'm like, man, I'm not even going to waste no time.
Yes.
And something drew me to a very small ad that said booking agent.
Okay.
And it was a company called Tice Entertainment in East Brunswick, New Jersey.
Okay.
And again, don't have no entertainment experience at all. I was just led to call that number.
Okay.
And I talked to this guy named John Salvato, right?
Yes.
And Italian guy, he told me what it was. We book all the Motown groups in Jersey and New York. If you want an appointment, come by and, let's chop it up. Let's talk, So I set an appointment 3 days later. I hit East Brunswick, meet them. Pretty decent size office, a couple other agents in there. I sat down. The interview probably only lasted 30 minutes, Have you ever been in entertainment? Nope. Why do you want to get in entertainment? Seems interesting. You know what I'm saying? Seems like something I really want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, when can you start? I can start tomorrow. Well, I'll be up here at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Got there at 8 o'clock thinking I'm going to have training.
Yes.
They threw a big 9X yellow pages at me at my desk, literally threw it at my desk.
Yes.
That's Italians roll, you know what I'm saying, on the East Coast. He asked me for my name and asked me for my cell phone number. I had a 9X cell phone, He said, I'm going to make you some business cards. And here's a list that I need you to call these clubs and book these artists in his portfolio. And I said, well, where's the training? He said, that's your training.
Wow.
Cold calling.
Wow. So
I started out, man, my first entertainment job was cold calling for groups like the Drifters. I mean, real groups now.
Yeah.
Drifters, Shirley Alston Reeves, the Stylistics, the Dramatics, you know what I'm saying? I mean, real old school groups. And over the course of doing that, I ended up meeting Gloria Lynn, the world famous Gloria Lynn. And she just happened to live in Englewood, New Jersey, really up the street from where I was living in King Garden, down off of Palisades. And I met her, gave her my card, and she said, okay, so I finally meet one of my agents. They never sent any agents to me, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And at the time, I think she was like maybe 67 years old, kind of getting close to retiring, not singing anymore, but still just want to do her last hurrah, like her farewell type of tour.
Yeah.
So we start talking. I end up managing her, man, in her last years of being an entertainer. That was my first management job. We just hit it off.
But was that
she asked me to be her manager.
But was that a conflict of interest, though?
Yeah, it was a conflict of interest.
So
I ended up because John used to always kind of, show me the money they were making and, telling me that I would never get to the level that they're at. I'm saying to myself, so, okay, I'm working for this company and they're actually trying to limit what I'm doing. So I never let them know that that's what I was doing on the side. Right?
Got you.
And then once I kind of established a rapport with her and, had a nice list of clubs that she wanted to, kind of do back and forth from Jersey, New York, and Connecticut.
Yes.
I was good. So I just put in my resignation after, it didn't even went in a year, man. I got into it probably 8 months in, and I decided to sort of just resign from Tice Entertainment after 8 months.
Okay.
And I was full-time managing Gloria Lynn at the time.
But you're doing
this was 1988.
But you're doing it for yourself now.
doing it for myself.
Wow.
I had a company I named the company L Management, you know, so that was my first, again, they didn't know too much about the S Corp, C Corp, LLC, but so I just did a C Corp.
Yeah.
So that was what was told to do. So I just did that. And I had an office in Jersey, you know, and represented Gloria. That was how everything started. And then over the course of just being in the city, you know, coming back and forth, I started meeting a lot more people, kind of getting deeper into it, you know, going to different parties. And, you know, that's where I met Russell Simmons and, you know, Leroy Cohen of Def Jam and Craig Coleman of Big Beat Records. I mean, I'm going to go back with Craig Coleman when he started out of his apartment building with vinyl, crates of vinyl, man, just in the living room floor.
Wow.
That's where he started Big Beat. I go back that far. Nelson Paradise Roman.
Yeah.
And then I met Angelo Ellerby at Double Exposure in New York, and he had a group called Jomanda, Make Your Body Rock, and I know you remember that record.
Yeah.
And so I actually worked that record with him.
Wow.
You know, I was one of their first co-managers with Angelo Ellerby, you know, and so we worked the whole Newark, New Jersey, you know, sector, and we had a show at it's called Club Zanzibar, if you remember, at the Quality Inn in Newark, downtown Newark.
Come on, man. Don't listen.
Yeah,
as
man.
they say, put some respect on that name, Club Zanzibar. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, sir.
Yeah. That was my first entree into the whole house thing.
Big Dog, let me just stop you for a second, because I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you. My mouth has not closed since. I did not know that you were spending so much time in North Jersey, New York in 87, 88, 89, 90, and we never made contact with one another. Wow.
That's what's crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
Seriously. That part there is what's so crazy.
Yeah, because what was so funny was, as we were prepping for this, I had said to you, "What do you know about house music?" You said, "Man, I was up in Jersey." I'm like, "What?" So go ahead. So here you are. So here you are. You're doing programs at Zanzibar. Go ahead now. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm at Zanzibar, and the first person I meet is Tony Humphries.
Wow.
I didn't know who Tony was, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's the DJ for the night, right? I mean, I just thought he was just the DJ, the club DJ.
Just the DJ.
I didn't know his background. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, and then I met Bobby Condors. You know, I'm like, okay, that's another DJ. You know what I'm saying? So Tony played me though. He was like, I'm not gonna let dude know who I am. You know what I'm saying? And so over time, you know, I'm listening to BLS and, you know, Kiss and, you know what I'm saying, all the different radio stations, and I'm like, Tony Humphries.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Yeah. I said, Tony, are you on the radio station, bro? He said, bro, I've been messing with you for the longest, man. You've been thinking I'm just this local DJ in Zanzibar, bro. I'm heavy into the industry, you know.
Absolutely. He was
Tony
the industry.
He was the industry, man. And so he basically was one of the first guys to kind of bring me under his arm, man. Okay. And he mentored me, basically. So Tony mentored me, man.
Time out. Tony Humphries mentored you, Big Dog. Talk to me. Come on, man. How did you, what? Come on, man. How'd you get that?
My God. I don't know if he's still living or not. It's been years since I've even talked to him. But yeah, Tony got me into the whole house movement.
What?
That's how I got into it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, from Colonel Abrams to a Diva to Kevin Hedge. I mean, dude, I used to be at all of their cribs, apartments. You know what I'm saying? Just hanging out, chilling, you know, going to the studio with all these, you know, house artists. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and then I met Frankie Crocker, you know, through Tony, you know, and it just kind of Larry Levan, and it just kept going, man. So then I started hitting the Tunnel and Roseland and, you know, Mars and, you know, the World on Houston Street. You know, I really started getting into the whole club scene and the movement, you know.
Got you.
And that was my first entree. And then I met this kid named Blue Jean.
Okay.
And Blue Jean at the time was a guy that was living in the Bronx, man, and he just had a Casio keyboard, bro, and a 4-track recorder, man.
Okay.
But he was making the banging his house beats, bro, and he was this underground king, kind of like 50 Cent was in the rap thing when 50 was just making mixtapes.
Yeah.
Blue Jean was just making mixtapes, right?
Okay.
But yet, everybody was like, no, you got to hear this kid because he got something that's so fresh in this whole house thing. And so he was one of the first house music producer / artists that I managed solely.
Okay.
You know, so that was really one of my first real big management gigs. And Blue Jean had deals with every independent, you know, record company from Moving Records in Jersey to Cork Records to Easy Street Records to you name it. He was on it. You know what I'm saying? And we had a nice run, you know, for about 3 years until I moved to LA.
Yeah.
You know, but then in the process, like I said, I met, you know, a lot of the cats in Jersey, that whole, you know, Queen Latifah movement, you know, and Shakir and the group Today. Big Bub was my next door neighbor, so I met him, and that's how I met Redhead Kingpin and T-Neck, and Teddy Riley was, you know, kind of floating through Jersey as well, so I ended up meeting him when he was working with the Dougie Fresh Project.
Yeah.
You know, and so
how long?
And then my uncle. Go ahead.
You know, how long were you actually in Jersey at this time while you were still doing management?
I was in Jersey kind of like that 87ish.
So about 4 or 5
91.
years. Like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Didn't leave. It was there.
Now, but because you're in the house music scene, though, was anything active overseas, like in Europe, or were you going to Chicago?
No. I didn't do anything. Now, I met, you know, a lot of Chicago guys in New York.
Got you, yes.
But I didn't do anything in Chicago. I didn't do anything in techno in Detroit.
Okay.
And I wasn't even thinking about Europe. Europe wasn't even on my radar.
Got you.
You know, at that time, you know. And so it was just New York and Jersey as far as the whole house scene.
Okay. So after your time in Jersey, what's calling the entrepreneurial spirit in you? What's your next move? Man, you wouldn't believe this. I'm watching Soul Train. Okay. Dawg Cornelius. Yeah. I'm a Laker fan. Okay. So I'm just watching Dawg Cornelius, Soul Train, watching the Lakers, Showtime, Magic Johnson. I just got this inkling, like, okay, man, you know, kind of got the house thing established, this and that. I got bored easy, Kev, when I was, you know, starting out. Yeah. And so I said, man, let me go to L.A. Just like that? Just like that. Wow. Just like that. Just like that. No, you know, reason, no job, no artist, no nothing. I'm just gonna go to LA. But Big Dawg, what happened to the Jomanda who you were managing at that time? You can manage her anywhere. Oh, I understand, but I thought you wanted to be close to her while you were providing the management. Well, see, Angelo that's what I'm saying. See, Blue Jean was the only one that I was solely managing. See, Angelo was already with Jomanda. Got you. I was co-managing. Got you. So you didn't have any. I can move. I didn't have to be on site. Got you. Okay, I got you. And then Blue Jean was kind of self-contained, and so I told him what the deal was too. And he said, "Hey, man, it's your dream. Have at it." Okay, you know. So you pack up everything and you go to L.A. I go to L.A., man. I end up getting a rent-a-car. Yes. I ended up at not an apartment. Well, it was like an apart hotel. Okay. And it was right across from CBS Studios. Okay. In Hollywood. Yes. And I think I paid for 2 weeks. Okay. And I asked the front desk person, you know, where certain things were. Where were the nightclubs? Where, you know, what was the, you know, the vibe? Yeah. She said, well, have you heard of this place called the Red Onion? I said, no. Okay. Gave me the address to stop at the Red Onion. They usually have like happy hour. That's the big thing in LA. I said, cool, I'm gone. Okay. I get to the Red Onion.
on Worcester Boulevard. I go in. It's pretty cool, you know. Looks like a little kind of lounge sports bar type of vibe.
Okay.
Circle bar. I go to the bar, you know, just ask for a Long Island iced tea. I'm sitting at the bar. All of a sudden, this like Mexican or Hispanic girl comes up to me and start talking to me and this and that, and just, you know, out of randomly just asked me to buy her a drink.
Okay.
I said, excuse me? Buy you a drink? I said, I don't really have a problem with it, but I don't know, just how you guys operate out here in LA. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I didn't really know your name, right? So long story short, we chopped it up for just 15 minutes. And I just know she started getting more aggressive, right? And I just said, well, whoa, you know, I mean, no problem. And it's like, you know, you getting kind of aggressive and raising your voice, right?
Yes.
And then she kind of just cursed me out, and she actually pulled out a blade and was like, hey, man, if you don't get me a drink, I'm going to cut you. And I'm like, whoa. So this one goon came and grabbed her, and I guess they knew each other. And that's when, you know, you got the camp angels around you, bro. You got God. And he pulled her away, and he was like, bruh, you know, you're not from here, are you? I said, no, man, I'm from the East Coast, basically from Jersey, man. I just moved out here. You know, he said, man, she's a Crip. I said, she's a Crip? He said, yeah. She saw you and spotted you as a foreigner.
Got you.
And was going to basically milk you, and you didn't go for it. So she was really trying to set you up and rob you, bro. And I'm like, are you serious, man? That was my first day in LA, man.
Wow.
And the guy happened to be a rapper.
Okay.
Named Thomas Good. He went by Tommy G.
Okay.
And he asked me what my name was, and I told him. And I gave him my little background. And he said, bruh, we need to talk, man.
Okay.
I said, really? He said, yeah, I need you know, producer, I need songwriting, you know, I probably need somebody on some co-management level. I want you to meet my manager, Greg.
Okay.
You know, so I meet this guy, Greg, who was an attorney, and we chopped it up, and I told him what the deal was, and, you know, he said, man, where are you staying? I said, well, you know, I'm staying at this little apart hotel down across from CBS. He said, man, enough said. You moving in with me in my townhouse, man, and we're going to work, and we're going to get you a contract, and we're going to go to work. And I'm like, huh?
Wow. And
said,
so,
yeah.
So you're
moving in with me, man.
You've been in Hollywood less than 24 hours.
Exactly.
Wow, man.
And ended up moving into Tommy, you know, so it was third Street in Wilshire, man. So back on that, he was just up the street. He was just up the street from his apartment.
Okay.
Brand new 2-level, 3-bedroom, had my own bedroom, the whole nine.
Yeah.
And we ended up, you know, working together, man. We worked together for maybe 2 years.
Okay.
You know? And
wow.
So I ended up meeting Battle Cat and, you know, Snoop and, you know, DJ Aladdin, Ice-T, you know what I'm saying? You meet all the, you know, people that you know that was on the LA side now. As I was meeting people in New York. And our first deal was with Capitol Records, me and Tommy. This was before MC Hammer came out. See, Tommy was a dancer like Hammer.
Okay.
And they had this young lady, I forgot her name, that they signed a big publishing deal with. And they wanted to get some of her songs out on Tommy. Tommy had, man, a huge deal, bro. It was going to be a multi-million-dollar deal. They thought he was going to be the next thing, and he was. You know, the look, the dancing skills, the rap skills, he had it, you know.
Yes.
And he gets in an argument with A&R. Her name was Joy Bailey, and tells her, I don't want no female writing for me, you know. Leonard is my writer, and that's my only writer, and that's the only person I'm writing for. And they got in a little, you know, tit for tat type of thing. Tommy ends up picking a chair up, man, and throws it out the 9th floor window, breaks the window, the whole nine, and he gets blackballed. Our deal's done. I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me, man.
Wow.
Just like that.
Wow.
Now that happened 6-7 months later.
Yes. You
know what I'm saying? So I still worked with him for 2 years, but, you know, over the course of time, everything kind of comes back full circle where once you burn one bridge, the industry's so close then. That's what you learn, that other labels will also shun you once they figure out what you had done.
Yeah.
And so after a 2-year run, you know, we kind of went our separate ways, you know. Okay. And so I was in LA my first stint for 3 years.
Okay.
But I did end up coming back to New York.
Okay.
You know, because what happened, I was still trying to make it happen. And, you know, I kind of got into club promotions, you know, with Magic Johnson and a couple of people, you know, out in the club scene just to kind of, you know, keep, you know, little ends meet. Yeah. But I knew in LA you had to really have your record deal to maintain out there, you know. Gotcha. When that thing didn't pick back up, I said, well, man, maybe it's time to go back to New York, right? And so I ended up coming back, and that's when I met this kid named Dennis Washington, who was a producer in East New York in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And same token, because I'm already in the business now, he knew who I was. We talked about management and everything, and he knew who I was. He said, why not? Let's go for it. And so we ended up, shopping Dennis at like Def Jam. They were interested. Tommy Boy Records was interested. And then Tommy Boy basically wanted to sign a deal. And so this was 94. And so we ended up going to Monica Lynch and Tom Silverman, if you remember those two names. And, dude, we had the contract on the table after 2 hours of kind of going back and forth.
Yes.
Negotiating the terms. Getting ready to pick the pen up. Monica gets on the intercom and tells everybody at Tommy Boy to stop everything. So grab the pen from Leonard and Dennis, don't let them sign yet. And we're like, huh, what's going on? Meet me in the conference room upstairs, right? And so they leave us in the office for an hour.
Okay.
And they eventually come back and they tell us that, we can't sign your deal, not right now. We were like, we just had the pen in our hand. What do you mean you can't sign the deal? They said, well, you know the group called Guy with Teddy Riley? I said, yeah. Well, Timmy Gatlin is no part of the group anymore. He went solo, and we were going back and forth in the conference room to either sign you and Dennis or sign, Timmy Gatlin. And we decided, because Timmy had a little bit more track record, to sign Timmy. That's how we lost that deal, man, with Tommy Boy Records and Timmy Gatlin.
So close, yet so far.
At the same time.
Wow. Well, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, man,
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
but
crazy.
Timmy was cool, and so what he did is he decided to bring us on his team.
Okay.
Just so it wouldn't be so, you know what I'm saying? So we still ended up getting paid out of that deal.
Okay.
And so we ended up bringing New Jack Swing, not Teddy. We did.
Okay.
Timmy Gatlin and Wookie Stewart. If you remember Alton Wookie Stewart, that producer, we brought New Jack Swing to Motown Records. So it was a cross-promotional deal between Tommy Boy and Motown.
Wow, man. You were
so I ended up back in L.A.
You were in this deeper than I even imagined, man. Wow. That's all right, man.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, really. And you know what's so funny, Kevin? When you in it, you're not thinking like, I can't believe I'm in it. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
I was just in it.
Gotcha.
And things were just happening. And at the time when things are happening, right?
Yes.
You're not thinking that this is like something major or something significant. This is just part of the process, right? And so on the second stint in LA, I ended up meeting Jamie Foxx.
Okay.
And so Jamie and I ended up being roommates, and Jamie happened to be a producer as well.
Time out. The Jamie Foxx that we see on TV, you and him were roommates?
Yeah.
Get out of what? Get out of here, big dog. That's all right, man.
That's my guy, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Jamie was just starting, man.
Wow.
And he was just doing music. He was not doing film. Never did want to do film. Never wanted to do movies. Nothing. He was just in music.
Okay.
And he did stand-up comedy. And so while I'm in one studio working with Timmy Gatlin and working on his album, it was a studio of a Vine and Yucca in Hollywood, called in Beulah Studios. Jamie would be in different studios throughout LA just working on his project, And how he made his money to go to the studio was there was a club called Club Spice on Sunset Boulevard. And he was the opening, well, I'm going to say open, let's just say the talent, the comedic talent for a music industry night that RCA Records was sponsoring.
Yes.
And so you had everybody there, bro. I mean, you name them. If they're in Hollywood at the time, the guy Louis Gregg was a major figure in the industry. And so, he was like a Don Cornelius of nightclubs. And so every major celebrity would be at his Monday night, industry night. And so it was one night that I was there and I was at the bar with Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and Damon Wayans, and we were just chopping it up, And Damon was explaining that he was getting ready to leave and live in color and do his first blockbuster movie with Bruce Willis called The Last Boy Scout. So we were kind of just, toasting and, a couple of shots and congratulating him and everything. And, so Jamie is local talent, local comedian. And, you know, if you're in a big room full of entertainers, you know, nobody pays attention to the local talent. So everybody's talking over Jamie while he's doing his set, right?
Yes.
Well, all of a sudden, everybody gets quiet and starts laughing. And I know my roommate's voice, and I just hear him, you know, kind of act like a little girl talking about, hey, hey. People start laughing. I'm like, let me move around so I can see what they're laughing at.
Yeah.
Because I can't see them. I'm way in the back by the bar. So I get to a spot where I can see him, Kev. Man, Jamie got a red wig, red lipstick, some red pumps,
a
yellow dress on, with red polka dots, with his lips all puckered up, with his big lashes, and he's talking about my name is Wanda. And I fell out laughing, man. I said, man, Jamie done lost his mind, man. He done went to a dress. And so what I'm doing just on this podcast is giving you the grayscale, kind of the short version, you know, because it's so much. But at the time, we used to do that and throw rent parties just to take care of our rent as we're kind of reestablishing myself back in LA.
Yeah.
And then Jamie trying to get his music out and me trying to, you know, continue to work with Dennis and get the project done so we can get it out so we can get this real money, right? And I think what happened with Timmy, same scenario, man. It's like it's a nonstop. Timmy would start going over budget.
Okay.
He starts putting more money into liquor, alcohol, girls, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Motown was like, Timmy, you're going over budget, man. We ain't got no more money for you.
Mm-hmm.
Timmy has just like Tommy. Curses his A&R out.
Okay.
I'm like, come on, man, not part two.
Wow.
Yeah. Part two, bro. Part two.
Wow.
So we can't do that with Dennis now. Well, your deal is attached to Timmy. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, man, he's costing us too much money, man. We can't do the project.
Wow.
And so we did our last rip party, me and Jamie, and Tommy was a part of it, and a couple of Speedy, the comedian that's on BET Comic View.
Okay.
And I came again, Kevin, back to Jersey, man.
Wow.
In 1990. It was just, you know what I'm saying? And so I ended up coming back. And 95 is going toward 96.
Yes.
And I don't know. I just said, man, I just need to make a change, man. And, you know, I ended up, you know, coming back to the crib and got bored here back in Tennessee. You know, I just kind of took a break and had a high school buddy of mine that was living in Houston named Otis Hall. And ended up, checking him out. Got to Houston, man, and you know, hit it off and said, yo, man, this is cool, man. You know, I might want to, you know, see what I can make happen here. He said, bro, you ain't saying nothing but a word, man. I mean, just move in and, you know, take your time and make things happen. So, 95, I'm in Houston.
Okay.
And you just know that this bug, man, this entertainment thing doesn't go anywhere. Now, I'm in Houston, kid. I'm established in entertainment.
Yes.
But I'm not necessarily pursuing anything, right?
Okay.
I ended up meeting this young lady named Oprah Hamilton from Detroit, and we started hanging out and, you know, started dating and this and that. And then she kind of was in the scene a little bit. And she said, you know, I got this guy named, this attorney named Warren that is looking for some help with one of his rappers. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, really? She said, yeah, his name is Papa Chuck.
Okay.
I said, okay, what's up the meeting up? So, in 95, I ended up meeting Warren, and he's like, man, I think I'm a little bit over my pay grade. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, Oprah told me about you, and that's why I want to meet with you, and you at least got some management experience. And why don't we talk about partnering and managing this new artist I got from Austin, Texas, named Papa Chuck. And I thought about it. I said, man, I don't know if I want to, you know, after being scarred 2 times.
Yeah.
Is this an omen? I'm getting ready to set myself up again. And, you know, he said, nah, man, this dude already has a deal. So, Kev, because he already had a deal, is why I signed the contract with Warren. And we ended up co-managing Papa Chuck because he already had a deal with Pendulum Electric Records with Ruben Rodriguez in New York. And so, you know, he already's in the studio. He wants to renegotiate his contract. And so I said, okay, I can help you with that. You know, I said, what's the situation? He said, oh, man, right now I'm getting $100,000, but, you know, really there's like a $500,000 deal on the table, but I just need somebody to help me negotiate. I said, bro, you ain't saying nothing but a word. And it took us about maybe a month and a half, you know. to kind of go back and forth, kick the tires around. So I ended up getting the deal. And so, you know, I get 20% of that off the gate, you know. And so I'm feeling like, man, I'm back, you know, like, wow, out of Houston, Texas, of all places. Because at the time, the only thing that was going on was a company called Liberty Records.
Okay.
And a guy named Jay Prince owned Liberty Records. Now, notice I said Liberty, not Rap-A-Lot. Yeah. I was in Houston before Rap-A-Lot.
Okay.
You know, and so Jay Prince learned the game through Liberty and ended up forming Rap-A-Lot Records and came out with this group called the Ghetto Boys, as you know.
I remember the Ghetto
Boys. So I was
yes.
there at the beginning of that. And he took over, man. He was one of the first independent labels to have a platinum record, you know, 1 million records sold in the whole industry. So all eyes on Houston. And I'm saying to myself, wow, this is great, man. Because at the time, I'm the only artist manager in Houston. So I'm good with Chuck. We good. We in the studio, got the publishing deal, the whole nine, back and forth in the studio. Then I get a call from Opal again. She was like my confidant, my everything at that time, and my industry connector in Houston. And she said, this guy, this corporate guy, that's got this group called Girls Time. His name is Matthew Knowles. He wants to meet you. And I said,
come on,
what's he got? He said he's got his daughter, and her name is Beyonce, and she's got this group called Girls Time, and it's 6 girls, and he needs some help, you know, getting them. And everybody, the buzz is that you're the only real manager that got industry experience in Houston. So I ended up meeting Matthew, and we talked for about 2 hours. And he said, I want you to meet my daughter and meet the group. And I said, no problem, let's do it. So I ended up meeting them, and, you know, they kind of sang a cappella for me. I said, wow, man, these girls are like unbelievable, man. What's the plan? He said, well, we got a tentative deal with Epic Records, man, but I don't know nothing about the business. I'm coming from IBM.
Yeah.
And Tina, her mother, she just owns a beauty salon. So we don't know nothing, man. And, you know, we're not greedy, and we figured, you know, you probably can help us out. So let's see if we can work together. And so let me tell you how crazy I am, Kev. I told her my plate was full. I said, man, as much as I want to help you, man, my plate is full. I got this one artist here. I just signed a contract with this company called Onyx Entertainment, and we do all the urban concerts throughout Houston. So I tell you what I'll do, though. We got a concert coming up with Drew Hill, Low Key, After 7, and R. Kelly with public announcement.
Yes.
And if you want, man, Girls Time can open up, man. Your daughter and them can open up.
Yes.
So we end up setting that up. 3 weeks later, show day comes and goes. We get everybody there. I'm in the green room, Kev. Beyonce and them are opening up.
Yes.
I got a good ear for music. So I'm hearing this one dominant voice. I said, who in the heck is that singing right now, man?
Yes.
I come from the green room, peek through the curtain from backstage, and it's Beyonce.
Wow.
And the first thing that came to my head is like, I don't know how long this group is going to last.
Yes.
But this girl is going to be one of the biggest solo artists in the entire world. It's exactly what I said at that moment.
That's what
and
you
then
said.
My ego
but that's what
got
you
in the
said.
way.
That's what you said at that moment. But you also said that your plate was full.
I said my plate was full, right? You already know, Kevin. So what happened? My ego got in the way, and my pride. And I'm like, I can't go back to this man after I turn him down and be like, oh, I changed my mind because I heard her really like take off like that, and I see the vision in the future. I couldn't do that, so I let my pride get in the way and didn't do that. He could have taken me back. I don't know, but I didn't even take the chance.
Wow.
Man, once they hooked up with Wyclef with that no, and got down to 3 girls, man, and they shot up the charts, I'm like, Dawg, what did you do, man?
Yeah.
You saw it.
Yeah, that was your third strike. You guys sitting on the sideline for a second.
That's what it was. You already know. That was it right there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
And so what I did, man, all that did for me is it kind of got me out the management thing, because what happened with Chuck is, even though we finished our project, kind of back to the Papa Chuck deal, even though that money was coming in and it was good.
Yes.
Ruben had a problem with putting the album out.
Got you.
And the word on the street was there's this rapper named Snoop Dogg was getting ready to come out on this Deep Colors movie with Dr. Dre, and he sounds and the style is too much like Papa Chuck, and it's first person to the market, Ruben. So we got to put Chuck out. Stop playing.
Mm-hmm.
We got Marley Marl on the record. We got Tony Dofat on the record. Come on, man. We got hit makers on this dude's album. We got Buju Banton that we flew in from Jamaica. Come on, man.
Yes.
Ruben never released it, man. He said, well, we got to put Diggable Planets out. And then after Diggable Planets, we putting out Mr. Funky and, Lords of the Underground.
Yeah.
Then we'll release Chuck. Well, he did it in that order, and what happened is Snoop came out.
Wow.
And the rest is history, man.
But you know what?
And so even though I had go ahead.
No, I was going to say, up until this point, man, it seems like this could be a made-for-movie kind of setup, man. Like, you keep going, but you can't catch a break yet.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
But let's...
That's really what... Go ahead.
But I'm saying, let's stop for a second, because I don't want to necessarily rehash all of this. I just want to make sure the listening audience is understanding what's happening up until this point. So you seem to be a serial entrepreneur. There seems to be no rules to wrong or right, just whatever you feel, right?
Yep.
Could there, looking back, if you've ever had a chance to reflect, could you have done something better? What would you have done better?
Wow, that's very interesting. It's two things.
Okay.
And this is what I learned from it, from a spiritual standpoint. What I learned from it is stay humble.
Got you.
I was kind of cocky.
Got you.
I was kind of ego-driven, and I should have went back to Matthew and took that deal.
Got you.
That was a surefire deal that I knew was a solid.
Got you.
But my cockiness at the time was like, well, man, I got enough understanding of the industry, and there's other artists out here, and I already got some artists that I'm working with, and this is just part of the growing and the growing pains of the industry. That's what you go through until you get to your plateau, right?
Yeah.
So that's where my ego stepped in. Okay. Where in reality, when you got a bird in the hand, you take it. That's what I learned.
Let me ask this question now. So in that industry, right? As you are starting up a management company, how do you organize your thoughts? Do you put together a business plan? Do you have projections? Or are you just winging it?
You wing it. That's the one thing about the entertainment industry I can tell you, and every entertainer can tell you this. It's probably the only industry that you don't have a manual.
Okay.
There's no schooling for it.
Yes.
Not unless you're going on the technical side.
Yes. Which
you're learning how to actually play an instrument or make a beat or make a production.
Yes.
They have that. But there's no, now I'm noticing, because some of these guys have been in the industry for a while, certain universities do have artist management types of either certificates or stuff like that, but not no degree, right? So as far as management,
yes,
right, that's just you winging it.
Got you.
As a manager.
Got you.
And you learn along the way, as a manager, So everything I learned was just kind of networking and talking to different lawyers and, because I have several, and letting contracts beat you over the head, your first time until you learn how to read them and understand the terminology. And, that's one part of the industry that you just wing it.
How important was networking for you in keeping in contact with those contacts? How important was that?
You can't make it without it. You have to have that. Your strength and your ability to maintain any type of career or longevity in the industry is your network. Without that, you have nothing.
And so I guess the next part is, along with maintaining the contacts, how important was your credibility?
Credibility is everything as well.
Gotcha.
Your yay has to be yay, your nay has to be nay.
Gotcha.
That's everything. As soon as it only takes one strike in that game, especially being a manager, that if you slight anybody any way, shape, or form, you're done.
Gotcha. So here we are. You're licking your wounds, 3 strikes, right? When does the Europe lights start to call you? Where are the vibes from Europe starting to call you, man?
That happened when I got married. So I took a little hiatus, right?
Time out. Big Dawg got married? What?
I could have sworn you knew that.
No,
you knew that. My Facebook.
I saw that, but I wasn't sure because, man, I didn't know what was going on at that time, and I might even like some of the pictures. But okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Wait, hold up. All right.
Bro, I was married, man, for 20 years, bro.
Time out. So
yeah.
So after your third strike, you lick your wounds. Now, where do you go to get married? Where is this happening chronologically? Right? Where is this happening?
We right on course, man. Hey, good segue. We right on course. Okay. Right? So after that whole third strike thing, look, I ended up coming back to Tennessee.
Okay.
I ended up coming back to Tennessee, right? Yes. This is around like 96, right?
Okay.
But before, I said, well, man, let me just put this last hoorah in. I'm already a concert promoter. I'm making money, so it's not like, I'm not making money. The management thing just seems like it's not it for me right now. So let me just stay in the concert promotion world. So I said, well, a reason for me to, stick around in Houston. Plus, Honest Entertainment, the company I was with, one of the partners, man, he started writing bad checks, man. Federal agents start coming. I'm like, oh no, I'm not part of this, bruh.
Yeah.
Let me release myself from this paperwork, and I'm out, right? And so that was the motivating factor for me to get out of Houston, even though I had nothing to do with it. I didn't want to. No, you're not gonna interview me. You don't know me. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just use wisdom. I didn't do no crime, and I don't want to talk about somebody that did it. So I left, came home. This is 96. So what I did, is I had a buddy of mine in L.A. that was putting Snoop out.
Okay.
On tour, and that's what Snoop was going through all of that Suge Knight stuff with the bulletproof cars and vans and all that. And police dogs checking record stores for signings to see if they were Suge was putting bombs. Man, it was wild. So why I took that on, I don't know, but I said, man, I want to do something real big in Knoxville coming back. So I'm the one that brought Snoop Dogg to Knoxville, Tennessee in 1996.
Well, had he been to Knoxville before? Never. Okay. And so
never.
So what was
never been here. So I'm thinking that's gonna be a slam dunk.
And so what name were you using to promote him at this time? What was the name of your company?
At that time, man, I didn't even put a name out. I didn't even put what I did is I had a sponsor.
Gotcha.
At the time, I had Coca-Cola, which had a headquarters here. So I did a Coca-Cola Presents because I didn't even want anybody in Knoxville to know it was me because at the time, Knoxville, small town, you know how it is, man. Yeah. People hate and they know it's you and they're not going to support. So I just said Coca-Cola Presents,
Wow.
So I didn't even have a company registered once I left Onyx, and I just said they presented, with the radio station WJBE.
Gotcha.
And what happened was the city at the time was having problems with the Crips and the Bloods even here in Knoxville. And so what my thoughts was bringing Snoop. Snoop would at least create a truce and, trying to set some order in the city because he's an OG, and they would listen to him.
Yes.
And this would be a win-win for all parties involved.
Yes.
Well, I'm coming in town. I had a local promoter that was trying to set everything up. So I think I'm coming to something that's going to be a sold-out show. It's only 6,000 seats. It's Snoop Dogg, right?
Yes.
Kev, the police department and the city officials, man, I came to the arena and there were 7,000 people outside. They weren't letting them in.
Wow.
Yep. They only let 2,000 people in, man.
Wow.
1,000 Crips on one side and 1,000 Bloods on the other side. I was livid, man.
Because
I lost it. I said, well, I'm not going to go to jail. They were blocking my money.
Got you.
No altercations, no shootouts in the parking lot, no shootouts in no community. I tried to tell them that, man. Snoop did a truce on the inside. I said, man, these other people out here need to hear his message.
Yes.
That's what this whole tour was about, right?
Yes.
And you guys blew a huge opportunity, right? And so at that time, I took a break, Kev. I took a break in 1996.
Okay.
Again, my adventurous self, I said, well, I don't want to stay here. And I just said, well, what am I going to do, man? I got a little money in my pocket. What am I going to do? Mm-hmm. And I started hearing people start talking about Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay. And I said, it's not but a 3-hour drive. So let me just go visit Charlotte, man, and get a hotel and just chill, maybe for a week and just see what's up in Charlotte, man. And ended up staying in Charlotte a year.
Okay. Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I met this guy, man, named Joseph, and he was a club owner, and he was getting ready to open up a jazz club. And I told him my story, and again, we just kind of just hit it off, and decided to be partners together. Then he just said, "Well, man, before we, really get into the, knocking down the walls and, the rebuild, the remodel, let's take a trip, man. Let's take a trip to Florida, man. I got a military buddy of mine I haven't seen in a while, and
Okay.
why don't you just ride down there with me?" And Florida, I've been there before, man. And I'm like, nah, man. I think I'll just chill, man. They just go with me for a bit. Now I said I was gonna chill. I didn't want to go, right?
Yes.
So he said, "Well, no, man, I'm going to Tampa. I'm not going to Miami." He said, "Tampa." I was intrigued because I've never been to the West Coast of Florida, the Gulf Coast.
Okay.
So I said, "Okay." So we get to Tampa, St. Petersburg first. We get to St. Petersburg. We go through Tampa first. We get to St. Pete, and we gonna meet with this guy, and a couple of beers, this and that. Everybody, we got our hotel, shower, change, this and that. Okay, went back to the house. We're gonna go out. He said, "Man, I got this club I want to take you to because your man does promotions, and y'all getting ready to open up a club. Maybe y'all could do something here, right?"
Okay.
And so I want you to meet the owner. Her name is Dee.
Okay.
So Dee shows us around the club. We have dinner there because they have food. We have some drinks, and it was before the club opened. And I told her what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this reggae tour, and I think it'd be perfect for Florida. And she said, "Let's do it." Gave me some dates, and we were cool. She comes out the blue, Kev, walks away, comes back. She says, "You know what? I got the perfect girl for you to meet." I said, "Excuse me?"
Okay.
And I said, I'm thinking she's like some madam or something, right? And she starts laughing, like, "No, it ain't what you think. It's not like I'm trying to connect you with no prostitute or nothing like that." I said, "Man, I didn't know, D. It sounded kind of strange to me." And she said, "Her name is Jamea." Okay. And I'm not going to give you her number, but what I'm going to call her and tell her about you and see if maybe y'all want to meet, for lunch or dinner or something like that. So she did that. And Jamea said, "Yeah." And so then she said, "Well, you mind if he has your number?" She said, "No." Okay. And so we ended up meeting at a restaurant in Houston, in Tampa, called Houston.
Yes.
Off of Del Mabry, the same street that Tampa Bay Buccaneers football stadium is on.
Yes.
And so I meet her. She's already sitting in the booth when I get there.
Yes.
And so, kind of get the hand, kiss the hand type routine, gentleman type thing. Sit down.
The gentleman that you are, yes. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so we both end up looking at each other and just saying, "You know what? After conversating, after 30 minutes, man, you're like a breath of fresh air." I said, "Wow, man, you are too,
Yes.
I'm joking, Kev. I'm not serious, man. I said, "Man, I don't know, man. I might marry you."
Yeah.
I'm not serious. And she's like, "Oh, whatever, So, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we have dessert, man. We do this, we do that. Red, so you ready to go? I take care of the bill. Bruh, she stands up, and she just kept going up and up and up. And I'm like, "Oh, my gosh, man.
I'm in love.
How tall are you?" I'm in love, but then I said, "How tall are you?" Right?
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen those pictures. She's tall. She's taller than me, right?
Obviously,
like
big
a
dog.
lot taller, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, not that I'm tall anyway, right?
Yeah.
She's probably like, I would say, you and her. She's probably like maybe like 1 inch taller than you. I think you like 6'1" or something like that, right?
So she's like 6'2"?
She was like 6'2", bro.
Wow, bro.
I'm 5'10", as you know. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I walk her to her car, man. She's got a nice little gold Mercedes-Benz, and she gives me a business card that says high maintenance. And I'm like, high maintenance? She says a state of mind on the card.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I said, "When can I see you again?" She said, "Whatever, just call me, man."
Okay.
And, man, we ended up becoming, like, good friends, like business partners, man. After a year go by, man, started hanging out with her, this and that, man. And then we ended up started dating, man. The rest is history, man. And so to answer your question with the Europeans, go ahead.
So after about a year, you guys marry.
Yeah. 1 year.
Wow. And so but when did you move to Europe?
So here's our journey. And I'm going to compress this because it's a long one, right?
Got you.
So we ended up moving to Europe in 2009. Now, mind you, this was 96 going into 97.
Yes.
So there's a lot of traveling in between that.
Yes.
You know, I mean, we literally probably hit every state on the I-10 freeway going from east to west. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And we went through it, man. And like I said, I don't even mind sharing. I mean, we've been actually homeless together, man, to the riches together. You know, we went through it. Yeah, man. It was serious, man. The boy has actually been homeless before.
Well, but,
you know,
let me stop you regarding that, man. So when you were homeless, was it once again you being arrogant and didn't want support or didn't want anyone to know, didn't want help, or what was going on that didn't allow you to get the immediate help that you need, assuming that you could get help?
What happened was when I ended up moving to add, what I didn't add is I didn't go back with my partner.
Got you.
Once I met Jamea,
okay,
I told him that I'm going to go back and get my car.
Yes.
And I'm coming back to Florida, man. I just wish you the best with the club. I think, you know, I found where I really need to be right now, and I'm just going to kind of start from a clean slate, right?
Gotcha.
And so one of the things that I feel that I did when I look back at it is I was making hasty decisions, right?
Yes.
I probably should have stayed, again, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right?
Yeah.
I probably should have, from an economic standpoint, stayed with my business partner and opened up that club, right?
Yes.
And let that marinate, then come back to Florida and to see what my dating or whatever life was going to turn into, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I didn't do that. So I really didn't have a source of income when I was in Florida.
Okay.
And so what happened was we ended up partnering, Jamea and I. We ended up doing great business together. She ended up becoming a business partner before we really started dating. And we were doing a lot of club promotions because she was into fashion.
Got you.
Right?
Got you.
And so she added a fashion show element to my concert promotion deal. So one of the biggest events that we did was we called it the Millennium 2000. I'm fast forwarding now to the year 2000.
Yes.
And we had from Fat Farm to Baby Fat to Carl Canai, all the black designers. We did a fashion show. And we had Kenya Moore. We had Rome. You know, Christopher Williams. It was huge, man. We had like entertainers, and she had the models, local models, right?
Yes.
And I met this gentleman named Richard Pelzer that managed Kenya Moore at the time. And again, I'm not dating Jamea yet. We're just business partners, right?
Yes.
And so Kenya comes down, and you know, she's this diva, and she's supposed to be wearing this big wedding dress for this top designer to close the show, and she wanted to get her hair and nails and all this stuff done. So we ended up taking a limo with her and just driving her around where I did. It was me and her.
Yes.
And that was like a nightmare, but it you know, we made it happen, right? And so I ended up getting all this stuff done, and you know, she's a real particular. If anybody knows Kenya, she's very particular. And so we did the show. Show's over, and again, I'm not dating Jamea yet. We're just business partners and friends. And so Kenya decides that, you know, after a couple of Long Island iced teas, that she just wants to sit in my lap and kiss me and say that I want you to be my manager and maybe my boyfriend. And I'm like, you're drunk, Kenya.
Kenya Moore is sitting. Wait, hold up. Kenya Moore from the Atlanta Housewives, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Sits in your lap, big dog.
Yep.
Right? And says she wants you to be her manager. What?
Yep. And maybe her boyfriend.
What?
Right. And I'm like, Kenya, you're drunk.
I would have said, baby,
you're
where
drunk,
do you
Kenya.
Listen, where do you sign? Because I am ready.
Listen, but look, I didn't say no. I just said she's drunk. Because that's where my mind was where you at, right? So, no, I waited till I got away from folk to really like see if he was playing or not, right? Kenya, jump, stop playing.
Yeah.
And we ended up going to a restaurant called Bennigan's, if you heard of Bennigan's. They're mostly in the South. I don't know if they got them up north or not, but like an Applebee's type of.
Yeah, I've heard Bennigan's before. Yeah, so, yeah, like a TGIF steak. Yeah, Bennigan's. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yeah, exactly what it is, right? And so we ended up going there, And man, I'm just gonna keep it PG. But the dress she had on was fishnet, and I'll just leave it at that.
Wow.
So,
but Big Dog,
we get there.
Let me just share this with you, man. Man, you have got to be.
Okay.
I don't want to say the luckiest, but man, dude, life is good for you at that point. Man,
yeah.
There's got to
listen to me.
There's got to be a book and a movie coming out soon, man. Who's going to play you in this movie? Huh?
I have no idea, but people have been telling me that. Seriously, they've been telling me that. And once I tell you where I'm at now, it might come to fruition because, you look at, like you say, life decisions, Kev.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not saying it was too many episodes that happened to kind of steer my decisions, right? But again, I'm not even dating Jamea yet, right?
Yes.
We're just business partners and friends. But Jamea's the one I ended up marrying for 20 years.
Yes.
But here's what ended up happening. I ended up pursuing Kenya.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
What? You must like tall women. You must like tall women.
Yeah, it's crazy.
She's about 5'11".
Yeah, she's tall too.
Yeah, 5'11". Yeah, she's about 5'10", 5'11". Wow, okay.
Not as tall as Jamea, but you know. And so she ends up going to L.A.
Yes. And
she's real close with her grandmother because everybody knows her story. Her mother and her they don't vibe, right? Yes. Her and her father are close, and her grandmother, which I think her grandmother's passing on now, but back then, she said she was coming to Orlando with her grandmother, right?
Yes.
And she wanted to meet me in Orlando, and she wanted to go to an Orlando Magic game at the time. That's when Shaq was playing for the Magic, and that's when they had, close to that championship team. And so, I'm in the game, so I know people at, a little bit everywhere, so I could get courtside seats. So I'll call my man at Orlando Magic, and say, give me 4 courtside seats, I got Kenya Moore coming in, no problem. So I had that already set up.
Yes.
Got her the hotel, everything. Now, I'm still planning a new event with Jamea, and I'm in the office, and we're talking. And I don't know what provoked me to ask her, what does she think about Kenya Moore, and what does she think about me dating Kenya Moore? I knew Jamea liked me. I knew I liked her, but we just didn't go past that at the time, right?
Yes.
And I let her response kind of touch my heart, man. It was interesting. She's like, well, you got to go with your heart.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow. Okay.
Okay.
And so I'd already spent a year with Jamea.
Yes.
My immediate desire was, but how do you get a chance to be with somebody like Kenya Moore, even though Jamea is just as fine, right? If you just look at it just from the exterior, superficial side, right?
Yes.
And so at that moment, man, I think I went with my heart. I could have handled it differently.
Okay.
But I ended up calling Kenya and told her that I can't make it. She basically cursed me out. I don't want to ever see you again, talk to you again. I can't believe you would do that after it's already set up. I said, the guy's going to take care of you. You don't have to worry about it. Your whole trip is covered, food, everything you want, limo, they're going to take care of you. So she still came, but we never connected. And I would say, Kevin, after a month, Jamea and I started dating, and then maybe, 6 months down the road, man, we ended up getting married.
Wow.
And that's how it happened. I kind of went after my heart, man.
Wow.
And like I said, I got a 24-year-old daughter, and they still. So I can, I'll let you kind of take it from here, and I'll just kind of let you know where it goes from there.
Okay, but so first of all, congratulations. But when did you guys make the trip to Europe, and when did that whole life journey take place, man? How did you get to?
And that took place.
Yeah, because I
after Chicago, we got to. We got to Chicago in 2007.
So you're in Florida. You go to Chicago now, right?
No.
Okay.
I just gave you the tail end. There was a lot of journeys and homeless and all this in between all that.
Okay.
And so that's why you got to tell me where you want to pick up at. All I can tell you is I'll say the in between stuff after Florida.
Yeah.
Well, after Florida, we ended up getting out of Florida. Like things were. That's what I said. I didn't have. Outside of, I ran out of money, basically the stuff that I had saved up from all my entertainment stuff. Even though we did a couple of fashion shows, they kind of broke even because the timing was wrong. Because at the time, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were playing the Detroit Lions on the same day. I did not even know that, man. I don't know, being in football, how I missed that one.
Yeah.
But I scheduled the date without looking at the football calendar. I couldn't change it.
Wow.
It was already promoted. People were buying tickets. So I'm thinking hopefully people from that game would come to the event. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't happen. So we broke even.
Wow.
So I didn't make any money on that.
Uh-huh. Because what I want to do now, right, is I want to kind of like fast forward to me meeting you on, or me reconnecting with you on Facebook, right? And and I saw you modeling. Well, not modeling. I think that was your wife at that time. She was modeling, and then from there you go black, and then the next thing I know, I reconnect with you about 2-3 years ago, and now you're doing the Ghost Kitchen. So that's the part where I want to catch up from there now, because the other part that I'm interested in, because you were telling me you were over in Czechoslovakia, you were in Ibiza, you've got a house record, you got a few house musics albums out. I want to hear about that part. So take me there, but
let's fast forward, because the other stuff, let's fast forward, because that's critical as well.
Yeah, but be mindful though. I want folks to understand that throughout this journey that you're having, I'm hoping that you're thinking about reinventing yourself, and what are the steps that Leonard's doing, or what steps is Leonard taking to reinvent himself to still be that consummate serial entrepreneur. I really want to keep the story focused and shaped around that. Okay, go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Got it. Yeah. Now what I can do is, now that you added that, I can kind of go back and forth with those steps to where the listeners can kind of understand, the how to reinvent yourself and move with the times. Because that's what I had to learn how to do, and that's how I actually rebooted myself to get the income back up and to now maintain it. Is throughout all my trials and tribulations. That's the first part that you learn being a serial entrepreneur, is that you're going to have your highs and lows. It's basically how you bounce back from the low, right? And so you guys have basically heard a lot of the highs and lows. So fast forwarding, now married, now with a daughter, 2009, after having a successful, fashion boutique on the Golden Circle, Miracle Mile of Chicago on Michigan Avenue. 2008 hits. Everybody knows about Lehman Brothers and the crash and all that good stuff. Obama comes into office, etc. Everybody shut down in 2008. And so I basically did the LeBron James thing. Okay. Hey, let's take our talents to Europe. You know what I'm saying? I never didn't know anybody there. Had a buddy of mine that lived in Amsterdam that knew a guy that owned a hotel in Paris, right? So I basically sent my daughter and my wife here to Knoxville with my mom as I fly over, one-way ticket, easy, one way. I didn't go round trip. I just kept faith, man. I said, we're going to make this happen. Okay. So I ended up flying from Chicago, I remember April 4th, 2009, into Paris. Okay. And so Paris was the first place that I moved to. And I knew God was with me in the whole situation, because it took me an hour to get out the airport to the train to get me to downtown Paris, because I thought about it. I said, even though I took French in high school, I understand it. I don't speak it as well. And so I'm trying to find this train called the EUR. Yes. Right. And I'm pointing at the sign the whole nine, and all I hear is no comprend, monsieur, no comprend, no comprend. So after an hour, an American guy came up to me and spoke English. I said, my God, it's about time somebody that speaks English, right? I'm thinking, I done picked the wrong country, because, nobody speaks English over here, right? So at least what I thought at the time. And so I just wanted to add this because it was a joke. I said, man, what are you trying to do? I said, man, I'm trying to find this train right here. And he starts laughing. He said, how did you say it? I said, the EUR train. He said, well, in French, you pronounce it air, ou, air. Man, we had a laugh. Kev fell out laughing. He said, it's not EUR, it's air, ou, air. Yeah. I said, come on, man, is that serious? He said, yeah, man, you're in France, you're not in America. This is like a different language. Yeah. Even if you're pointing, they're like, no compromise, no comprehend. They don't comprehend. Mm-hmm. So to kind of just give you the basics without giving you the soliloquy, still not thinking about anything in particular, as far as what the next steps are going to be. I just figured Paris is the fashion capital, so why not go to the fashion capital and basically reboot mainly my wife's career, with her image and her talent in Paris, and so, I know how to research, online and, you call different agencies, et cetera, and that's basically what I did, I met this young lady that happened to be from Chicago that actually was staying at the Marriott Hotel before I got my apartment. And I just said, man, God is all over this because this girl happens to be named Elizabeth and she happens to be from Chicago where I just left. So I had an American to help guide me along the way and help me. And over the time, once you run into people that are under, I would say 50, 60 years old, you end up realizing there's a lot of people in Paris that do speak English as well. And so I didn't have that language problem, And so let's just say about a month and a half goes by, I end up flying my wife and daughter over.
Okay.
I did a little traveling prior to that to Germany, to different places. I kind of took advantage of just, the ease of traveling by train in Europe, just to kind of explore the areas while I'm by myself, and so to get familiar with different places that I might want to revisit. And so I ended up in Germany, believe it or not. I ended up in Frankfurt, Germany. I fell in love with Frankfurt, Germany.
Okay.
I ended up wanting to move to Frankfurt, Germany, and was just getting ready to start taking German classes, and I get a phone call, from my wife about, well, we got tickets to come to Europe. And I'm like, excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we told your mom to just get us 2 non-refundable tickets, man.
Wow.
So they get the tickets, non-refundable, and it kind of put me in a pinch because I didn't have everything set up at the time, and so again, at the time I had like maybe 150,000 US.
Okay.
And once you convert it to euro, that shrinks to about 110,000 euro.
Gotcha.
So I had to be very strategic and very conscious and aware that, okay, there's no income, no job, language barriers, this and that, don't know where we're going, don't know where to put our daughter in school. I got to make sure I don't run out of this 110.
Yes.
So they end up coming over, meeting them in Munich, Germany. And again, fast forwarding, we bounced to a couple of countries, man, from Italy. And then, like to say, the first year, Italy, back to Germany, Germany to Austria. And then I just had a heart-to-heart with my wife at the time and said, listen, we're going to have to make a decision because right now we're just bouncing around just spending money. What are we going to do? What you talking about? You don't want to live here, don't want to do this, don't want to do that. So what are we going to do? He said, well, why don't we just go to London?
Okay.
Because at least there's English speakers, then it might be closer to a U.S. type of lifestyle.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to take the train to London. So we ended up taking the train to London, and we finally found our bearings in London. So we went through the process of getting acclimated, found an apartment in an area called Canary Wharf called the Docklands off the Thames River, and got our daughter in a school called in the Wesley Chapel area of London.
Okay.
And so we were in London for about 3 years.
Okay.
And got connected with the whole fashion community. We would hit all the fashion weeks, London Fashion Week, et cetera. So we were moving and grooving,
Okay.
At the time, I wasn't in entertainment. I met this gentleman out of Holland that was talking about hotel industry and hospitality, and I just kind of enjoyed the conversation. And the entrepreneur side of myself was like, well, hey, man, how can I get involved in, this whole hospitality industry?
Wow.
And he said, what do you want to do? What's your background? And so I kind of told him that, I'm more or less an entertainment guy, but I'm a business developer, right?
Okay.
I'm a consultant. I know how to bring in investment capital. And that's what hit him. So as I said that, he said, you know how to raise funds? I said, oh, yeah, I know how to do that. I learned that in entertainment.
Yes.
He said, well, that's actually where I will need you at, is if you can be on the investor side of bringing investment capital to help us raise money to build these hotels, man, we can set up a company right now. I said, right now? He said, yeah, I can actually do the website, get your information. We'll set up the corporation like right now. We'll set up a Dutch company. And we did that over the phone, Kev.
Wow.
His name is Igmar Slutak.
Wow.
And we formed Concept Hotel Group.
Wow.
And it's concepthotelgroup.eu. Still up and operating, even though, I'm here in the States. So that's part of my serial entrepreneurial journey. And for me, it really is just, as I see it, I treated each endeavor as a project.
Yes.
I kind of figured out how to become a serial entrepreneur, how to become good at it. Is you have to have a solid team of people
yes.
that are established,
yes,
that are experts at what they do. You can't have people that are starting out. You can't have people that are newbies or people that are trying to figure it out. The only way you can really be a true serial entrepreneur is you have to have a network of experts. That's the only way it works. There is no shortcuts. There's nothing other than that. So,
gotcha.
For the listeners that are, trying to pursue that and wonder how can somebody do more than one thing, it's not hard if you don't have what I would call self-sufficient type of mindset. If you're open for community, if you're open for collective, serial entrepreneurship is the way, as long as you take your percentage and don't mind spreading the wealth. You have to want everybody else to eat, in order to make that happen. And so that's a philosophy that I've taken, and that's what, sustains me as a serial entrepreneur. Is I know that I need strategic partners along the way for any new venture that I get into that are actually experts at that trade.
Gotcha. So
and that's what I learned through the course of my journey.
Let's do this, because I'm biased. I want to have you touch on you doing some music in a BZ. And then I want you to fast forward of you coming back to the States doing the ghost kitchens, because I found that, and then we'll have to take a little break at that point, because this is good, man.
Cool.
Man, this is good. Go ahead, Big Dog. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm in Europe and basically got, my wife established and got my daughter established in school and all the extracurricular stuff that she was doing. I ended up getting a bug for music.
Okay.
It just, my mind is clear. So I'm like, well, man, I'm in Europe. It's like, what's the music scene like in Europe? And that's just kind of how it happened. And so I just started traveling, man.
Okay.
I started, just taking time off and just traveling just with myself,
Yes.
And my wife was traveling, getting her stuff together and shooting videos, different places for her fashion stuff. And I would just take little weekend trips. And so I ended up going to Croatia, man. And I was just curious. I'm like, what is former Yugoslavia like? I started venturing off the beaten path, right?
Yes.
So what is Eastern Europe like? And that's what I did.
Okay.
I went to Croatia. And I had this taxi driver. As soon as I got to Croatia, come up to me and give me a card.
Yes.
I mean, obviously I'm an African American in Europe, so they figuring he's American, he's got money, why not?
Yeah.
And I had a little breakfast, little croissant, coffee. Saw the card, called him. I said, "What's going on here? Where am I? What other places? This and that. I'm trying to really, see what's a good destination that I can really explore." He said, well, let me take you 30 miles down the road and go to this country called Montenegro on the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay.
A city called Budva. And he said, it's the Ibiza of the Mediterranean. I said, oh, well, let's do that, because I'm in entertainment. And so we ended up driving and ended up staying at this hotel called Splendid Hotel. And I wondered why it was familiar. And that's where they shot one of the James Bond movies, at that hotel.
Wow.
So I stayed at Diamonds Are Forever in that movie at the hotel that they filmed in Montenegro for the James Bond movie.
Wow.
And I ended up falling in love with Montenegro, man.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this club called Mr. Stephen Brown, a beach club.
Okay.
And I ended up just kind of going down there, hanging out, not thinking too much of anything. And I'm listening to this. I'm like, wow, European former house music. Wow, this is very comfortable. It's like, okay, but it's different, right?
Yeah,
so they got a house scene here in Montenegro, right? So I'm in my element, Kev. And so I ended up going to the DJ booth, man.
Okay.
I met this guy named DJ Vlada.
Okay.
And Vlada if you look at my Facebook page now, that's one of the DJs that has the glasses that you see me with. But we started by me meeting him.
Yes.
And he said, I'm from Serbia. I said, where is Serbia? I said, well, it's the capital of former Yugoslavia. I said, oh, okay, got it, man. So I'm just learning and just traveling. And so I said, well, what are you doing later? He said, man, I got a gig at this club downtown in the center, in the old town. Why don't you come with me? I said, fine, no problem, So we get there early, and, I have like my New York Yankee hat on, you know what I'm saying? Dressed like somebody from New York, and the owner came up to me at a club and said, man, are you some rapper or MC? What are you? And I'm like, I could be, what you got? He said, man, you got the perfect image, man. I'm doing a fashion TV party, man. I want you to MC my party.
Wow.
So I'm in business, man.
Wow.
That's how it all started.
If you are not the luckiest brother, man. Wow. The serial entrepreneur strikes again. That's all right.
Yeah. Strikes again, bro. Yeah. And dude, I get there, Cam, and listen, I do the event. I'm just fast forwarding. I do the event.
Yes.
They pull me to this green room, man.
Yes.
And all these cameras are on me. And Marco, the owner's like, man, I'm going to sit with you and I'm going to interview with you because they speak Serbian. And I'm basically going to act as your manager. And I said, well, he said, man, just roll with me. I said, okay, no problem.
Wow.
So even though they spoke English, it was the Serbian version of MTV.
Wow.
That music television here in America.
Yeah.
Theirs was called N as in Nancy.
Yes.
NTV.
Yes.
Right?
Wow.
So they interviewed me, man, and they started putting me on the covers of newspapers and everything throughout Serbia, man. So
Big
Marco
Dawg
was like, bruh, they are calling you the king of house music in Eastern Europe right now. I said, after one MC show, Marco, they said, dude, you killed it.
Wow.
Like Fat Man Scoop, Big Ali type vibe, right?
Wow.
You killed it. And so at that moment, Kev, I decided I'm already got industry experience.
Yeah.
Let me find some DJs and producers in Europe, man, and the rest is history. And that's what I did. I started calling different producers. And at the time, Wyclef was, no, not Wyclef, will.i.am.
Yes.
The Black Eyed Peas was the big thing in Europe at the time.
Yes.
And that's before David Guetta started bringing on ushers and all these people. And so the European DJs needed American hip-hop artists to do top lines.
Okay.
So, bro, I just happened to be an American rapper MC that was living in Europe. And every DJ dude was approaching me and paying me to do top lines. So I got into business, man, at 45 years old as an artist in Europe just because Wyclef was big and they liked my sound. I did like probably 75 records in Europe, man.
Wait, time out. Wait. Not 7, not 5, but 75 records?
75 records, yeah.
Like 74, 75.
I did 40.
What?
75, yeah. I did 40. You remember the old Bingo Boy studio? Have you heard about the world famous Bingo Boy studio in Vienna, Austria?
No, I haven't.
You can Google it.
Okay.
Bingo like the game.
Okay.
And then Boys, Boyz.
Okay. Bingo
Boy studio, world famous. Probably one. It's almost like the Beatles and everybody's recorded out of that studio. I recorded 40 songs out of that studio, man, with the group called Global DJs. If you heard of them, they had that song called San Francisco back in the 80s.
Big Dawg, listen, man. Listen. When I go to sleep, I can have dreams of living vicariously through you, bro. Man, you have lived a life, bro. Man, Big Dawg doing big things.
Bro, I don't even see it. I don't even see it, bro. I just see it as just me kind of just living my life. That's what I'm saying. It's like I have to hear people like you who know me and know where I come from to let it even resonate. I just looked at it as like, well, entertainment is my job. I know these people, all these celebrities, and they're just like me knowing you.
Yeah, but
because when you really know them,
But it's like
they're just like anybody else, you know.
But it's like thus far through this whole conversation, like when you get the vibe or when you get the itch, you just go for it, man. No rules, you're just going for it. And that's what I just go. Yeah, you just go. I like that to some extent, right? Because for a lot of us, particularly coming out of the pandemic, there is no such thing as a real tomorrow with folks with just dropping like they were. So I am so appreciative of that go get it attitude, man, that you are showing us. But here's what I want to do is, and I'm certainly going to have to have you back on the show, but I want to just move to the point where you're coming back to the States, right? And talk to us about when you make the reconnection and you bring us up to where you are today with the ghost kitchens. Right, bring us up to that point, and then we'll have to circle back around.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay. So I guess you can say after a good 5-year run in European entertainment and traveling all over Europe performing, I basically got too expensive.
Okay.
Just being candid with you, I got too expensive for most of the clubs and the owners, promoters, and so you basically end up running out of money because you don't have nothing coming in.
Yeah. Okay.
And unlike America, entrepreneurship is not really a big thing for Europeans. It's a big thing for Americans. That's the other thing that I learned as well.
Gotcha.
And so if you don't have it coming in, like it ran its course, I said, okay, I need to go back to the States, man, before this thing gets real crazy. And in a way, it's a blessing in disguise because you never did know the pandemic was going to happen and all these different things. And so 2015, I'm back in the States.
Okay.
Came back to the house, in Knoxville, and I basically took a year just to kind of just chill and kind of just regroup, just kind of look at this overall, scenario. Me and the wife separated.
Oh, okay.
So just to add that to me and the wife separated. Yeah, we separated.
Gotcha.
And
sorry to hear that.
And so I waited till my daughter basically finished high school. You know what I'm saying? And so that'll be like probably another conversation, another podcast. But so I'm back in the States. And basically took a year off.
Okay.
I had some money saved up, so I just kind of just lived off of that.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, let's see what's happening. Not really trying to get back into entertainment, so I just wanted to see what was going on in the States at the time. At the time, real estate was happening. So again, serial entrepreneur. I'm not scared to jump into something new.
Yeah.
And I started calling around and talking to different friends of mine that were in real estate here, but I just didn't like what they were into at the time. They were more or less into the fix and flips and all that stuff. And so before I got into Ghost Kitchen, I ran into this company just on LinkedIn called TC Commercial Mortgage. So I ended up getting into commercial mortgage industry in 2016 and ended up doing that for like 2 years and, kind of got my feet wet into basically lending money to developers, to build hotels. So I was familiar with that. So I knew the language and commercial buildings, office buildings, restaurants, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I was a lender at the time. And so that was another thing I just added to my plate. And over the course of that, I started noticing that I started getting a lot of restaurant clients, and it seemed like that's at least at the time before the pandemic, that a lot of lenders were putting their money into, right? But then you start hearing about Uber and Uber Eats and DoorDash and all these third-party delivery platforms and all these restaurants, going through these third-party delivery platforms. So I started investigating that, like, what is this, and all of a sudden this whole ghost kitchen thing pops up. And you find out that one of the owners of Uber, I want to say his name was Capster, but Kalinsky or something like that. One of the two. I'm probably jacking his name up. But he was in the Bay Area, and he sold his shares in Uber, right?
Yes.
So he could form Uber Eats.
Yes.
And in addition to that, he had the delivery side covered, and then he got into this ghost kitchen space. I just started reading up on his story, man.
Okay.
And what ghost kitchen was all about, and got intrigued. And so I reached out to him.
Okay.
And so we actually, that was my first entry into ghost kitchens.
Yes.
Is to Cloud Kitchens is what it was called. It's called Cloud Kitchens.
Yes.
And what they did was a real estate play, which is take distressed areas, distressed properties, warehouses, and convert them into 200 square foot kitchen spaces for either food truck operators, caterers, whatever.
Yeah.
Give them an opportunity to kind of get into, their own self-sustained restaurant facility, right?
Yes.
And so that was a new craze. I said, well, serial entrepreneur, that's the new craze. I'm getting into it. Just like that. Again, just go. Just jump. So one of the things that happened with that, I'll speed it up, is I didn't like his business model because I found out that he was going into the black and brown communities and wasn't adding to the black and brown communities. He was taking.
Got you.
I sent him a long email. I said, bro, listen to me. This stuff is not going to last if you're not going to contribute back to the community. You're going to be shut down. I'm not trying to speak things into existence, but I'm trying to tell you, you're not going to get the business support if you don't pour it back into the black community.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that started happening. So once that started happening in the Houston location, they had to shut down. I just kind of kept going. I was still intrigued. And so I ended up finding this company out of Canada called Ghost Kitchens.
Got you.
And one of the owners is a former owner of Quiznos Subs.
Yes.
And he was bringing Quiznos back through the Ghost Kitchen.
Okay.
And then George Cotters was the one that actually found them. And George Cotters just happened to be the first Uber Eats client with some breakfast Ghost Kitchens that he created in Toronto, Canada. So once I learned a little bit more about their business model, I fell in love with it, man. And I've been a partner with them now, 2022, 6 years.
Okay, cool.
As a United States representative. And we end up cutting a huge deal with Walmart. So any Walmart in the United States that has a McDonald's or a Subway, eventually you're going to see them closing down, and eventually you're going to see a Ghost Kitchen in all the Walmarts in the U.S. Got you.
Wow. Well, listen, Big Dawg, this has been a breath of fresh air, a ride on the wild side. It's been a reunion. It's been everything, man.
Yes, sir, man.
Oh, man.
I appreciate you, brother.
Oh, brother, listen, I appreciate you, and I had no idea. My God, you have been living your life. Oh, my God. Just traveling the world.
I'm thankful, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm thankful. God is good, bro.
Yes, sir.
I'm thankful.
Yeah. So I mean, I just thank you with sharing and just opening up, being so honest with us, and just sharing, man. Thank you. Thank you. So
you're very welcome, man. I appreciate you as always.
Yeah. Let's do this real quick, right? Throughout all of your years of living, being a serial entrepreneur, what would be 3 takeaways from your whole experience of living life as a serial entrepreneur? What would be 3 takeaways?
3, excuse me, 3 takeaways.
Yes.
So many. For me.
Yes, for you.
Number 1 would be freedom.
Okay.
Freedom. Being a serial entrepreneur, just freedom, meaning free to think, free to move, financial freedom.
Yes.
Freedom. Every aspect of freedom.
Okay.
Will probably be my number 1 takeaway.
Okay.
Number 2, discipline.
Okay.
I learned a lot. Got to be focused. Got to be disciplined.
Yes.
And number 3, man, faith.
Gotcha.
I mean, for me, it's all about God and faith.
Gotcha.
I know for me personally, I couldn't do it without that. So those are my 3 takeaways.
Gotcha. Listen, brother, we're going to end on that note, man. All right?
Let's do it.
Big
I love
Dawg.
it, man.
Big Dawg.
Love you, brother. You already know.
Love you, man. This has been fantastic, man. I don't know what else to say. Just thank you, man. Thank you. All right.
It has been.
Yeah.
It's been great, man.
So
I appreciate it.
Let's talk and text and let's stay connected, beloved. All right.
Let's do it, man.
All right. I'll talk to you in a minute, man. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you. You take care, brother.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
That concludes another episode of The Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9494 9311 or email kevin@minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.